is that the federal government is actually the provider of some of the most important and accurate data we have. And administration after administration in both parties, have really protected all of the agencies that collect data. And this data is not only important to scientists, it's important to business people. Businesses make decisions on the basis of this data. It's important to local governments. And if there is any messing around with government data so that there is less of it and it's important stuff to have, or that it's no longer reliable, this is bad for everybody, at least, or everybody except the people who consciously want to lie with numbers. And so I think what you're seeing in the agencies is, conservatives always civil servants are more liberal than the rest of the country. They don't like Republican presidents. They probably are somewhat more liberal. But what's going on here, I think, is much more fundamental. They are concerned with a government that is opposed to the very mission of their agencies. This isn't partisan. We've had great Republican EPA administrators, for example, and they are concerned with the truth. And so God bless them for being there and insisting that if something untrue is said, they're going to be there to say, no, here's the reality.
Yeah, and Bill, this is one of the many things that is sort of frightening, is that you have an administration that is insisting on more drilling, more fracking, or more of that activity, but we may not even be able to find out what that is doing to the environment.
Well, anytime you're burning fossil fuels, you authorize more pipelines, you're headed for trouble in the big picture. But in the bigger picture is this thing, this word we love, cognitive dissonance, this phrase. So you have a worldview that disagrees with what you observe. So you might expect, if you were open-minded as a scientist, as a scientifically literate voter or taxpayer or kid, you might expect that you'd respect the data and change your mind. But that's not how people are. People on either side, on the other side and this side, you double down. When you find conflict, this is called the backfire effect. It backfires. You just get more entrenched into your worldview. But sooner or later, we hope we can change people. Just everybody, it takes most people, like for example, if somebody believes in astrology, it takes them about 2 years to get over it. You have to show them over and over. There's no such thing as astrology. It doesn't really work. And then they let go. But just everybody's expectation that you'll let go in a week is not going to be met.
Are you trying to tell me I don't have a pleasing personality because I'm a Sagittarius? Because I refuse to believe that, Bill.
Are you a Sagittarius?
I am.
Do you know Steve? He's a Sagittarius.
Steve is a Sagittarius. Yeah, we're just alike in every way.
I can't tell you
apart.
We're
alike in every way. I mean,
no, but you see what I'm saying? So our problem, everybody, is this doubling down, this backfire effect. And so we have to work, I think, diligently in the science community to fight back. Of course, there are the facts.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll start with those, but there's this human nature thing on both sides to fight back. We have our bubble over here. They have their bubble over there.
Yeah.
And just right now, what everybody likes to call the mainstream media is really on a cable news channel.
Yeah,
that's really the mainest of streams.
Really quickly before we go, there's going to be a march, apparently.
Well, they're talking about it. And so I get...
Of scientists.
Yes, well, and people who support skepticism and rational thought. Yes, so critical thinking. So I am not involved in organizing it, but what they told me, and I mentioned they, whoever they are, what they told me that the Women's March started out about the same way. It was just
a Facebook idea that became a thing.
It took on a big following, and that really surprised me. You know, my mother hyphenated her name. She was a Ms. before she was a doctor. She would have been wild for that thing.
Absolutely.
She told me she threw her bra on the fire. I don't know if she really did, but that's what she told us in 1973. So if I understand this, the scientific community is just going to keep fighting this fight. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
It's great to see everybody.
It's always great to see you, Bill Nye the Science Guy. We're going to take a selfie after. That's not scientific. That's just what we're going to do. EJ and Jennifer are going to come back later in the hour. Thank you very much, Bill Nye. And his book is Undeniable: Evolution and the Science of Creation.